On this planet, the weather doesn't just change plans, it changes your species if you let it. Scavengers' rain drops a handful of people onto a living alien machine and basically asks, "So, do you bend or do you snap?" The ship goes down hard, and what's left of humanity lands in bite-sized portions. We've got three main tracks: Ozzy with her robot buddy Levi trying to stay practical, Ursula and Sam doing science plus panic, and Cayman stumbling around like corporate training slides can fight off a jungle. They don't even know where the others are. It's just day one, and the planet's already circling like, "Oh, cute, snacks with backpacks." Vesta, this place they crash on, isn't just weird. It's connected in ways that make ecosystems back home look like toy sets. Plants bleed gas that feeds bugs, that grow shells that turn into rocks that other things eat, which then glow and attract predators. Nothing is random, and everything wants a piece of you without even being mad about it. It's like the world politely digests you while humming. Ozzy's the one who actually respects that. She does the math. She learns fast that if the wind shifts and the stamen things close, that means the big lizard birds are coming in for a landing, so you move. Levi, bless him, is built to help, but he's also a giant neon sign that says, "I don't belong here." He means well, he catalogs, he carries, he follows protocols, and this planet laughs at protocols, so they start bending the rules. Waterproof tape becomes a tourniquet, a tarp becomes shade and a sail, and Levi starts breaking his own safety guidelines like a rookie cop in a Bad Buddy movie. Meanwhile, Ursula and Sam go full field biologist versus nightmare buffet. Sam takes one look at a glowing fruit and, of course, has a nibble. Because when has glowing food ever gone wrong? Cue symptoms. Ursula's got to triage with whatever weird slime drips from the nearest vine, and she treats him while the world around them keeps jolting between serene and lethal. They learn which stalks whisper warning, which puddles are sleeping animals, and how to get water without waking up the garden. Cayman, on his own, meets the local welcome wagon in the ugliest way. He's hungry, he's thirsty, and the first thing that offers comfort is a plant that gives him a perfect little dream of home. He adapts the wrong direction. He doesn't question the gift. He crawls into it. That's the thing about this place. If you want, it'll let you lie to yourself forever, as long as you keep feeding it. Ozzy and Levi figure out movement is survival. Camps don't last. You can't plant roots where the roots are already smarter than you. She scouts by patterns, not landmarks, because landmarks here breathe and migrate. Levi starts flagging paths with sound pings instead of visual markers, because the planet keeps trying to edit their map with teeth. It's not glamour survival. It's inch by inch, cut by cut, and Levi accidentally steps on enough things that he basically becomes a walking demo reel for, "Look, that's why we test first." Ursula leans into respect. She watches the way one bug uses another bug as a portable air tank and realizes you can borrow biology. She rigs a filter out of a mucus sock from something that looks like a chandelier and tastes like battery acid. It works. She's not beating the planet, she's negotiating. Sam learns, slowly, after the fruit fiasco, that you don't do anything fast. Even panic has to wait for data. Back with Cayman, the dream plant, whatever we call it, gives him his favorite person back, but cleaner, softer, more obedient. It offers him a story where he's right, and everything is fine if he just keeps carrying it forward. He adapts by compromising one piece of himself at a time. Step 1 is survival. Step 2 is justification. Step 3 is, it's not my fault. The planet shrugs. It doesn't care. It's just thrilled to have a new delivery boy. The wreck is like a lighthouse of bad choices. Everyone wants to get there, because that's where the comms and parts might be. But the closer they get, the thicker the life gets, like the planet's also adapting to them. Trails they made yesterday close overnight. The air tastes sweet, then metallic, and if you smell pepper, you sit down, because that means something big is cleaning the corridor. It's a rhythm, and once they hear it, they start moving with it instead of against it. Azzy's patience pays off. She scores tools from a half-buried crate, patches Levi, and uses him as a decoy when a hunting thing keys off heat. It almost goes wrong, because Levi's kindness is his default, and this world punishes default settings. He learns to lie. He learns to hide. He asks if that makes him less helpful, and Azzy tells him it makes him not dead. Progress. Ursula and Sam have a tiny win. A medicine cobbled together from alien sludge knocks down his worst symptoms. Not gone, just manageable. That's a theme here. Nothing is fixed. It's all held together by nerve and duct tape, and every cure has a tax, the stuff that helps him hurt something else, and then that something else puts out a call, and suddenly they're apologizing to a forest. Adaptability here includes guilt management. No, Cayman finally crosses paths with the idea of other survivors, and instead of relief, he sees leverage. The plant's voice in his head coos, and he sees their faces as resources. His version of adapting now is strategic friendliness with a side of kidnapping. He smiles like a man who thinks he's earned a raise and starts laying traps with vines that whisper comfort while they wrap around your throat. By this point, everybody's changed. Ozzy trusts her gut more than the manual. Levi rewrites rules to fit a planet that didn't read them. Ursula understands that knowledge is food, and she's starving for it. Sam stops touching mystery items unless he wants Ursula's look that says, "Try me." And Cayman, he's become the cautionary tale walking on 2 feet, proof that if you don't adapt, something will do it for you, and it won't ask nicely. The planet keeps offering deals. Shelter that becomes a mouth. Light that draws in hope and hunters equally. It's a casino where the house edge is alive. To make it here, you have to keep choosing, and you have to keep watching the consequences chase right behind choices like shadows. Adapt, adjust, apologize, repeat. And the moment you think you've got it figured out, the ground breathes. So they keep moving, because standing still here is just asking the planet to write your obituary. Ursula and Sam push toward the ship's last ping, cutting through these fields of vinyl-looking fronds that hiss when you brush them. Sam's arm is still a mess, and the planet keeps waving miracle cures like a street hawker. Ursula finds this slick, translucent thing that clings to his skin and dulls the pain. It works. It also tightens every time Sam's heart rate spikes, like it wants to learn his rhythms from the inside. Meanwhile, Azzy's doing the world's slowest cross-country, with Chris basically riding a stretcher and Levi hauling both of them without a complaint, because that's what happens when your teammate's a patient machine and you're the one with lungs. They spot this natural arch, perfect shade. Looks like something from a travel brochure. They crawl under, and it exhales moss-scented air. 5 minutes later, the floor starts to knead. Turns out they napped inside a living throat. Levi figures it out first, pries open the lip with a limb, and they roll out like they're dodging a giant's yawn. Cozy, with a side of digestion. Cayman, alone on his little cliffside kingdom, is getting very domestic with the thing in his cave. It's still small, but it's growing, and not shy about telling him what it wants. He keeps bringing it food, keeps basking in that warm, fuzzy brain hum it gives him after, because apparently mind control hits like a weighted blanket. He thinks he's caretaking. The planet would call it onboarding. Back with Ursula and Sam, the bandage on his arm has a personality now. It twitches when they're near certain plants and seems to nudge his hand toward anything with a pulse. Ursula's clocking this like a scientist and a friend at the same time. Amazing specimen, terrible roommate. She tries to get Sam to cut it off. He says it's helping. It is helping, in the same way a payday loan. Helps fast relief, long-term lease on your willpower. Ozzy, Chris, and Levi trek along this ridge where the sky looks close enough to lean on. Chris is exhausted and stubborn in equal parts, clinging to the idea of getting to the ship even as his body keeps losing the argument. They spot a pool down below that shines too clean for this planet, smooth as a mirror. Levi runs a cursory scan that comes back like, probably fine, which is robot for flip a coin. Chris wades in before anyone can vote. The water sews his cuts shut in seconds. For one blissful breath, he looks like himself again. Then the pool starts to pull, like it recognizes potential inventory when it feels it. Ozzy yells, Levi lunges, and they tear Chris free with a rip that leaves him healed but shaking, like the pool took payment in nerve endings. Chris wants to go back immediately. The thing made his pain vanish, and in that moment, principles don't stand a chance. They drag him away anyway. On this planet, salvation has a sticky handshake. Cayman isn't hunting for food anymore, so much as scouting for offerings. He stumbles on a traveler, another poor wrecked soul, living lean out here, and gives him the friendliest hello trapped under a snare you've ever seen. He hauls the guy back. The queen hums happy, like a cat that also writes your commands straight into your brainstem. And Cayman convinces himself this is the right thing, because it's the only thought that doesn't hurt. Adaptation, in his case, looks a lot like inventory management for a monster. Ursula finally forces a little distance between Sam and his new wrist goblin by setting up a camp with safeguards. They take shifts. She rigs a perimeter with those popseed plants that spit light when disturbed, so they can see what's coming before it starts auditioning for their nutrition. When the lights flare, a herd of bony bird-legged grazers goes through, each one plugging a tongue into the ground like charging cables. Ursula mimics their posture, head down, slow steps. Sam follows, reluctant but curious. The herd treats them like furniture instead of food. Monkey see, monkey live becomes their new policy. Ozzy's group, not so lucky on the camo. They wander into a patch where the ground puffs spores in slow rings, like breathing smoke. Levi notices the pattern and leads them counterclockwise along the edges, stepping where the spores don't rise. Chris stumbles once and kicks up a plume. The puff cloud hisses toward his face like it's got his home address. Levi slams a mask over him while Ozzy holds her own breath and counts the beats. They wait, still as carved statues, until the spores give up and drift. Moving here isn't walking, it's editing your presence. Cayman's queen is a teenager in monster years now, big enough to drape tendrils along the cave like fairy lights with a grudge. When Cayman brings back a squirming gift, it rewards him with stronger hits. Visions of warm cabins, voices he misses, the ship's corridors clean and human and bright. That high is a leash you can't see in daylight. He starts building little markers around the valley stones stacked just so, bits of ship metal reflecting light to lead prey in, or maybe to lead himself back when his thoughts get foggy. Either way, he's mapping a trap and calling it a path. Sam's arm takes a turn. The growth isn't just numbing anymore. It's sprouting little filaments that drink. He wakes up in the middle of the night, mid-bite, chewing on a strip of tough leaf. Ursula swears he didn't put in his mouth. He doesn't remember starting. He doesn't love that he doesn't remember. Ursula sets a line. They keep moving during the day, and at night, the arm gets bound. If it's going to be alive, it's going to have manners. Ozzy, seeing Chris eyeing every puddle like a thirsty raccoon with a credit card, starts rationing not just water but decisions. She gives him tasks he can do sitting down, check the pack, count the signal flares. Hum a song at a certain pace so she can tell if his breathing's normal. She's not just keeping him busy. She's giving him a rhythm that's theirs, not the planet's. Levi quietly adjusts course to skirt every glimmering wet shine for miles. It's the world's slowest intervention with the stakes cranked to 11. Cayman's first delivery that fights too hard, knocks him flat, and almost runs. The queen hisses in his skull, and his body moves before his mind catches up. He pins the man, apologizes like that helps, and drags him back anyway. Later, he sits outside under a sky that never shuts up, jangling a piece of metal in his fingers while the hum in his head cools. He tells himself that if he can get one clear day, he'll stop, he'll leave, he'll take the path he keeps marking with stones. The next morning, he wakes up already, halfway to another trap. Ursula and Sam finally crest a ridge and catch sight of something hilarious. A tidy little field of boulder-like pods that look exactly like the cargo containers from their ship. Salvation, right? They jog closer. The pods are plants. They're shaped like home on purpose. Ursula stops 3 paces out because she's learning, because this planet loves a tasteful scam. Something knocks around inside one of the pods, thudding like a heartbeat. That's the moment they realize home can also be a predator that took a design class, Azzy points out the split between smart and lucky as they camp under a flat stretch of rock that is definitely not a mouth. You can be smart here, you can be careful, and you still need the coin to land heads 20 times in a row. Chris jokes he ran out of heads a while ago. Levi doesn't laugh but does angle itself to block the wind, which is the robot version of a hug. Night comes with a glow at the horizon that might be the ship if you squint and lie to yourself. They choose to believe it because hope's another tool you sharpen or it rusts. Cayman lies to himself too, just in a different key. He tells the Queen a bedtime story about a rescue, and it purrs back warm as ever, and somewhere under all that heat, a colder thought bubbles up. He's not the only one adapting. The Queen's getting better at speaking him. And if he doesn't watch it, the next sentence it writes in his head won't leave room for words like no, or stop, or mine. Morning hits Cayman like a fever dream you can't shake. He's got the Queen's warmth under his skin now, like a sunburn that hums, and it's telling him simple tasks with simple rewards. Build here, fetch that, feed me. He does, because it's easier than calling it worship, and the more he moves, the more the hive smells like home instead of a trap. He starts redesigning ship junk into a nursery, lashing panels into arches so the brood has shade, propping wreck struts into a fence that discourages whatever out there hunts by heat. He doesn't know that by doing this, he's making the layout more like the tunnels she wanted all along. He thinks it's his idea. The Queen thinks it's adorable. He still needs that. And when the hunting starts to feel too easy, she nudges. Not words, not pictures. A heavier pulse when he walks toward the scent of metal and blood human, not hoof. That old part of him that remembers briefing videos and misconduct seminars says don't. But this new Vesta part checks the Queen for approval, like a kid looks at a parent before crossing the street, and off he goes. He'll just look, he tells himself. See who it is. Make sure they're okay. Bring them something back if they need it. That's totally what this leash is for. Meanwhile, Sam's paying rent on his bad decisions. The nectar that took the edge off the pain also took the edge off his spine, and Ursula's had it. She steals his stash like a mom emptying a liquor cabinet into the sink. Except the sink is a digestive basin of a plant that burps out strawberries if you lie to it. She's tired. She's mad. But she's still the only one keeping him ambulatory, and he knows it, which makes him mean. They trudge along a ridge that wasn't there yesterday, all rippled like ribs. Vesta doesn't just change the rules, it rotates the whole board while you're blinking. So Ursula leaves chalk marks like breadcrumbs, and the chalk melts into spores that blow away in 5 minutes. She finds something instead, a patch of fungus that drinks the nectar's sister compound. She brews it into a foul broth and calls it soup, and Sam calls it poison, and both are vaguely true. He shakes, he sweats, he begs. She stays. No pep talks, no speeches. Just a hand on his shoulder when he throws up, and a nod when he says he's done. He's not done. And she knows, but you take the version of finished, you can lift this hour. Adaptability doesn't win medals out here. It just means you get to do tomorrow. Azzy and Levi spend that tomorrow haggling with the landscape. They find a valley that buzzes like a server room and realize it is 1,000s of little beetles passing static between them, a living relay that turns wind into current. It's the kind of thing you'd take a picture of if your camera didn't try to mate with it. Ozzy sees opportunity, Levi sees safety hazards, and between those two worldviews, they actually get something done. They cobble a transmitter out of a battery, a rib bone, and a coil. Levi pulls out of his own chest like a magician who does OSHA violations. Levi doesn't complain because he's a helper. Ozzy does complain because she's human. They point their Frankenstein antenna at the sky and fire a ping. It's weak, but it's alive, and for a heartbeat you can swear the air leans in to listen. That ping won't save them. It will, however, paint a target on their backs. The relay makes everything hungry to be part of something, and on Vesta, that includes things with teeth. The valley starts to gather, those feathery moths that drink electricity, those banded worms that chew through whatever hums. Levi grabs the rig and runs. Ozzy grabs Levi and runs faster, and they bail into a ditch,